Hello students, today's topic of presentation is Advanced Digital Design from Chapter 1 Advanced Digital Design and ASIC FPGA CPLD, subject VLSI, and the subject code is 22062. Now the topic integrated circuit, which we have already revised. We have done covered in the topic ASIC in the video. So now again we'll revise a little bit. What is integrated circuit? It is a circuit that contains several transistors fabricated on a single chip. So depending on upon the number of transistors fabricated inside the integrated circuit, it can be classified as small scale integration, that is SSI, medium scale integration MSI, large scale integration LSI, very large scale integration VLSI, and ultra high large scale integration ULSI. Here you can see the number of transistors on your left hand side. So if it is less than 100, then it is comes in the category SSI. It is between 100 to 3000, it comes in the category of MSI, and then 3000 to 30,000 LSI, 30,000 to 10 lakh VLSI, and more than 10 lakh ULSI. So as our subject VLSI, we will be concentrating much on VLSI. So VLSI is a very large scale integration system which integrates millions of electronic components in a small area, that is in a small chip. The objective is the speed is increased, circuit speed is increased, then the power consumption is low. If we are using a VLSI chip, then design area is also small. So these are the objectives of VLSI. Now the next topic we are going to cover is VLSI design flow. So this is the design flow of the VLSI. As you can see here, the idea, then second is the specification, design architecture, RTL coding, RTL verification, synthesis, foundry, and IC chip. So idea is all about anything we have to invent, that we are thinking about. This is the application which we are supposed to invent. So for that, for example, here you can consider the idea as microprocessor. You want to design a sort of microprocessor or microcontroller, memories, printers, mobile, digital security lock, all this sort of applications. So first thing you should have is the idea. So after the idea is done, the second step we are supposed to do in the VLSI design is the specifications. So in that you should know the instruction set, the input output pins, the organization of the system, the functionality of each unit in the system, and how to communicate it to the other units. Next is the design architecture. This is where the main work starts. With the help of the specification sheet, the target IC architecture is decided, and a layout of the same is created by design engineers using EDA tools. Now EDA tools are nothing but the electronic design automation. Here refers to the tools that are used to design and verify integrated circuits, printed circuit boards, and electronic systems. So various different EDA tools we should know, and they are Synopsys, Astro, Active HDL, Xilinx, ISC Design Suite, Cadence, Encounter Design, Digital IC Design. So here you can see your Synopsys Design Analyzer. So the whatever you have the idea, after the idea you put it on the this specification sheet. So there you have a block diagram specifying the input and the output, and then comes the logic diagram. So that here you can see this is EDA tool in which you can see the logic circuits and the connections. The next step, once you have done with the logic diagram, then is your RTL coding. So in RTL coding, this implies that the RTL stands for register transfer level actually. This implies that the VHDL, very large scale integrated circuit. So this is nothing but VHDL is a hardware description language, code written based on the architecture, describes how data is transformed and it is passed from register to register. So here is nothing but the programming part of the hardware. So here you have to define the logic gates, or whatever gates or the digital circuits you are using. For that you have to do the programming, and that is done in VHDL coding. So different VHDL RTL tools are there, coding tools are there: Xilinx ISE, Context, HDL Turbo Writer, and so on. So you have to write the program specifying the gates which you are using and the connections. So hardware description language will define a programming language that can describe the functionality and the timing of the hardware. VHDL stands for Very High Speed Integrated Circuit Hardware Description Language. RTL verification, this is the fifth step. So RTL simulation and verification is one of the important steps, and this ensures that the design is logically correct and without major timing errors. It is advantageous to perform this step, especially in the early stages of the design. So this is nothing but the error finding and the correction part. So to check out whether whatever inputs you have given, the right output is present at the output. So this is the verification part. So the different RTL verification tools are ModelSim, then FinSim, Test Builder, Xilinx ISE. So these are the different RTL verification tools. So here you can see in this verification you can check the different waveforms of input, output, clock, whatever you give as input and output also. Then the sixth step is synthesis. It is where the design now start to get physical. So up till now it was not at all physical. Now it is going to take the actual shape. So logic synthesis is a process by which the desired circuit behavior, that is register transistor level, is turned into a design in terms of logic gates which drive the circuit or architecture. So synthesis tools are FPGA, CPLD. The seventh step is a foundry. Now once the design is done completely perfect, the design is sent for fabrication for mass production to foundry. And this are the IC chips, the output. So this is how we get the VLSI chips. The different applications of VLSI, you can find VLSI application in almost all of the industries or consumers. You can see consumer electronics, wireless and wireline, electronic design automation, medical electronics, automotive electronics, aerospace, defense, bioelectronics. Everywhere VLSI is used. Now here we are going to cover ASIC design flow. So this is the block diagram of ASIC design flow. Here you can see the first step is design entry, then is logic synthesis, system partitioning, and then you go for pre-layout simulation. Fourth step. Fifth step is floor planning, placement, routing, and then is circuit extraction and post-layout simulation. So here the sequence of steps to design an ASIC is shown. It consists of actually logic design and physical design. It consists of logic design and physical design. So logical design consists of the following steps: design entry, logic synthesis, system partitioning, pre-layout simulation. Physical design consists of following steps: floor planning, placement, routing, circuit extraction, and post-layout simulation. So what is design entry? So design entry, a design is entered into an ASIC design system using a hardware description language. So there are two types of hardware description language. One is VHDL Verilog or schematic entry. Next step is logic synthesis. So then using the hardware description language, a logic synthesis tool, a netlist is produced which describes the logic cells and their connections. The logic synthesis is the process of converting a high-level description of design into an optimized gate-level representation. It generally helps to produce a netlist consisting the description and the interconnection of the logic cells as shown here. So here you can see here. So the logic diagram can be seen here. So once you write the hardware description language, so that program hardware programming is description language programming is done, that will be converted into the logic diagram as shown. That is called as netlist. Then the next step is system partitioning. The large system is then divided into ASIC size pieces known as system partitioning. So the objective of the system partitioning is minimize the number of external connections between each ASIC. Keep each ASIC smaller than maximum size as shown here. The next step is pre-layout simulation. Then the design is checked for its correct functionality. Fifth step is floor planning. The block of netlist are arranged on the chip, which is called floor planning. The goal is to calculate the size of the blocks and assign them locations. Objective: keep highly connected blocks physically close to each other. It is the first step in the physical design flow. Arrange the blocks of the netlist on the chip. It is a tentative placement of its major functional blocks. Next step is placement. In placement we decide the location of the cells in a block. Objective: we minimize the ASIC area and the interconnects. It also allows the placement of the cells present in the block. Assign exact location for various circuit components within the chip's core area. Placement is much more suited to automation than floor planning. Next step is routing. Make the connections between the cells and the blocks. It is a process of creating physical connections based on logical connectivity. Signal pins are connected by routing metal interconnects. The next step is extraction. Determine the resistance and the capacitance of the interconnect is found out. Basically, it's linked between two domains: physical domain and electrical domain. Physical domain, it uses the physical information like shape of the design, and electrical domain provides the electrical information, that is connectivity of capacitor, resistance, inductor, etc. Post layout simulation, it is used to check and see the design still works with the added loads of the interconnect. So that means it is used to check its functionality. So this is all about ASIC design flow. Now in this topic we are going to cover digital circuits. So we have already studied about the different types of digital circuits. That is, digital circuits can be categorized as positive logic system or a negative logic system. Also it can be categorized or classified as sequential circuits and combinational circuits. So we know that the combinational circuits are the circuits in which when we give the input, at that instant of time we get the output, and there is no memory element in the combinational circuit. And the sequential circuits are the circuits in which there are memories. And sequential circuit also can be classified as synchronous and asynchronous. So basically we can say that a sequential circuit can be defined as a circuit whose output depends not only on the present inputs but also the past history of inputs, as there is memory inside the sequential circuit. Synchronous sequential circuits, the output changes at discrete interval of time. It is a circuit based on equal state time or state time defined by external means such as clock. Examples of synchronous sequential circuits are flip-flop, synchronous counters. Asynchronous sequential circuits, these are the digital circuits in which output can be changed at any instant of time by changing the input. It is a circuit whose state time depends solely upon the internal logic circuit delays. Example of asynchronous sequential circuit is asynchronous counter. Now we'll concentrate on finite state machine design. Finite state machines are sequential machines or sequential circuits that can have only a fixed number of states. Counters are finite state machines in which the output and the states are identical. In general, the outputs and the next state of the finite state machines are functions of the input and the present. The specification of the output function leads to two types of FSM. So there are actually two types of finite state machines which gives the output. So depending on that, it is classified as first one, Mealy machines, or it is also called as Mealy machines. Output in Mealy machines, output are functions of input and present state. So here you can see the logic diagram. So there is a combinational circuit with the input X, and also there is one more input coming from the memory, that is R register, you can see, and these are the two inputs. So one input is X and the second input is a present state, and then the combinational circuit is also showing the output Z. So this is your Mealy machine. Then the next is Moore machine. In Moore machines, output are functions of present states only. Here you can see the block diagram. So input combinational circuit is there, then input is coming to the combinational circuit, as well as the other input which are coming is from the memory, and the output of the memory is going to the another combinational logic circuit which is giving the output Z. So we can see this in details here. So you can say Moore machine, the output of the circuit depends only upon the current state of the circuit, and Mealy machine, the output of the circuit depends upon both the current state of the circuit and the inputs. So the canonical sequential network, this is called a standard sequential circuit or the finite state machine, is shown here. The block diagram is as shown. So it is showing a combinational network or combinational circuit which is having input X of t, that is present input. Along with that, it is having one more input that is coming, that is present state input, that is coming from state register or shift registers or flip flop. It is a memory, and the output Z is coming from the combinational circuit, that is present output Z. So if it is a Mealy machine, then the model will be like this. So it is having two combinational circuits, C1 and C2. C1 is having input X of t, that is present input and the present state also, and the state register is your memory, and C2 is another combinational circuit with the present state and the input X of t, and the output is Z of t. This is Moore machine block diagram. Here you can see there are two combinational circuits. So input is X of t, that is present input, and the second input to combinational circuit C1 is present state, and the state register is your memory, and the second combinational circuit C2 is having only one input, that is present state, and the output Z of t. The state diagram is related with the finite state machines. So state diagram represents the states as the circles. The transition between them is shown by the arrows annotated with the inputs and output. So these are the design steps for finite state machines. So design procedure includes, that is, first step is to understand the problem. That means to find out the input output behavior and define states. Then obtain the abstract representation of the finite state machines, state diagrams, state tables, perform state minimization, perform state assignments. So in an finite state machines with n is equal to 2 raised to n states, n state variables are needed to encode each state. So choose flip-flops types to implement the finite state machines using flip-flop excitation table. To derive the flip-flop input equations, implement the finite state machines, use K-map or Boolean logic to simplify the next state equations, simplify output equations. So this is all about design. So in the next video, we will be designing the sequence detector and the counter using Moore and Mealy machine. Thank you.